Welcome to Beyond 2020, Mon Valley Initiative's Community Award Ceremony. Tonight, MVI and its partner organizations will recognize and celebrate those people and groups who are a driving force for positive change in their neighborhoods and the region. Beyond 2020 is being presented in part with support from Mistick Construction and by DRS of Greater Pittsburgh. And now, here's Mary Carol Kennedy, Board Chair of Mon Valley Initiative.
Good evening, and welcome to Mon Valley Initiative's 2020 Community Awards Ceremony. My name is Mary Carol Kennedy. I'm the MVI Board Chair, and I'm the East Pittsburgh Borough Council President. I can't tell you how happy I am to be here tonight in what has been an incredibly difficult year for all of us. We have seen a once-in-a-generation pandemic fundamentally change the way we live, and many of us have been impacted by health and economic challenges on a personal level as well. In these moments, it is so important to have a community to lean on. MVI's annual dinner has always served as an opportunity for us to come together and meet fellow community members, new and old, to celebrate individuals who are going above and beyond to serve our region. While we can't gather in person this year, this event has never been more important. All around us, community members are banding together to help one another in one of the most challenging times, strengthening our region for the long haul. Some of those individuals will be featured here tonight in our program, including for the Senator H.J. Heinz Award for Community Services, our Regional Partnership Award, and our various community partners nominated by their fellow Mon Valley residents. Before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to thank all of our sponsors that made our work possible, including our presenting sponsors tonight, Mistick Construction and Disaster Restoration Services. We are so appreciative of your support. Our ceremony tonight certainly looks a bit different than previous years, but our hope is that it still provides inspiration and encouragement to everyone watching. Thank you and enjoy.
Mon Valley Initiative thanks this presenting sponsor of the 2020 Community Awards Ceremony, Mistick Construction. Since 1951, Mistick Construction has had a commitment to complete client satisfaction. Mistick Construction specializes in multifamily dwellings, commercial buildings, and religious institutions, as well as medical and senior care facilities. Mistick Construction stands behind its work. Learn more at mistickconstruction.com.
Coming up next, Laura Arzinski, CEO of Mon Valley Initiative, presents the 2020 H. John Heinz III Award. That's when Beyond 2020 continues.
Hello everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Mon Valley Initiative's first ever virtual award ceremony. We're sad that we can't be together this year, but we're really excited to recognize some wonderful local volunteers in our communities. It's my honor this year to introduce our H.J. Heinz Award for Community Service. This award is given to a person for outstanding efforts to promote and further the resurgence of the Mon Valley throughout our region and state. This year's awardee, Macy Kislinski, has truly made outstanding efforts as he has helped MVI to assess and improve our real estate portfolio that includes affordable housing and small commercial spaces across 3 counties. He has volunteered an extraordinary amount of time helping the real estate and community development program over the past year, and his guidance helped us take a big step forward to undertake our largest project ever, the Clarendon Inn project. His wise guidance has also helped us to establish our own maintenance program, which is helping us to more effectively care for our historic buildings and the properties in our portfolio. Macy's generosity with his time and expertise has been truly amazing, and we thank him for having a major impact on the Mon Valley communities as he has helped us in serving our programs. It's now my pleasure to introduce our 2020 H.J. Heinz Awardee, Macy Kozlinski.
I grew up right here on Caton Street, Squirrel Hill, or Greenfield.
Yeah.
And so I've spent my entire career here, but I've worked all over the United States. When I was at the National Equity Fund, like I was saying before, I traveled throughout the United States working on transactions that mixed public housing finance with low-income housing tax credits. And so I've seen a lot of things in a lot of places, which is enjoyable. I mean, I've made a lot of friends throughout the United States, but I've always been grounded right here in Pittsburgh. So when I started to work with Mon Valley Initiative, I kind of felt a kinship with, because I've known Laura for so long, and what their mission is in particular, which is, it's a very challenging, thing to do, to take a community, any community, whether it's on the cusp of gentrification or being gentrified and you're trying to preserve affordable housing, or like Clairton, where you're trying to use affordable housing as a catalyst to make change. Equally challenging. And so this is the kind of thing where you relate to. You see, there's a mission here. There's a drive here to make something better. Light years ago, I used to work for the Urban Redevelopment Authority of Pittsburgh, and we did housing, housing, for sale housing. And I got involved with a project called Manchester Hope 6 demonstration. Spent 10 years at National Equity Fund, and then I moved on to PNC Bank here locally, and I did the same thing for about 4.5 years. And currently I'm at Alliant Capital. I've been there almost 3 years, again, doing the same thing. Representing the investors in low-income housing tax credit transactions. And so the benefit of that kind of experience is I've seen a lot of things from an underwriting standpoint, so it doesn't really take very much, or it takes a lot, let's just put that, to get me sort of rattled when it comes to sort of what the problems are. But it also sort of makes me like, can you imagine a triage physician? And I kind of sort of view my role with MVI as being the triage physician for the Clairton Inn project. Initially, sort of taking what was there and then sort of crafting it with the team at MVI, which is very good, into something that I thought would be fundable. So we have a goal. The Clairton Inn project was to providing maintain the commercial space and this residential opportunity for more residents, but but to have it integrate into the community. A lot of the challenges we face in doing community revitalization work is that a lot of things, start off on the planning sheet and don't get off the planning sheet. So my job is to make sure that what we've planned for, what's been applied for, actually comes to fruition. I did an internship at the Bloomfield-Garfield Corporation in Bloomfield-Garfield, actually more Garfield, with Rick Schwartz and Aggie Bros. And Aggie, who just passed away, when you're in a situation where you're young enough, and at that point I guess I was like I'm 26, and I was sort of molded by both of them as to what it means to provide community development, how much impact community development can actually have, and how intense it is. And so to this day I've sort of carried that torch. So I'm often looking for outlets to sort of say, hey, how can we make a difference here? What can we do? And Laura's need with MVI staff and experience and my expertise and Patrick leaving sort of was this perfect storm for me to just help and use the skill set that I have developed over almost 20 years. Doing transactions like the Clairton Inn project are, what was the Star Trek chess game? Four-dimensional chess. That's the way it is. I think that's the only way to really describe it. Because where you're working on one area, there are 3 others that are going simultaneously and almost in a different direction. So, at the end of the day, I believe you need the ability to go to sleep at night feeling that you've made a difference in some way, somehow. It doesn't have to be, a huge difference, but it needs to be a difference nonetheless. And to sort of, I've never envisioned my career, I've always had that feeling that at the end of the day, we are making a difference in all shapes and sizes. And I feel like the Clairton Inn is just another avenue to do that.
What is the balance between bringing in new development, stabilizing neighborhoods, new tax dollars, new opportunities for the community to, whether it's retail or residential, to shop, to work together, to play together, versus driving out the people who are owner-occupied in the neighborhood for maybe many years?
Mm-hmm. That's a good question. I mean, I think the answer to that, and I know it may sound a bit naive to many people who are watching, but it is MVI. MVI is the answer. MVI to me is the perfect tool by which the communities in the Mon Valley can protect against gentrification, can harness gentrification. It's just, as you were saying, is we want to enhance our tax base without completely changing the dynamic of the community. A community by its nature has a combination of things. You have affluence, you have folks that are low income, you have people in the middle, and everything in between. And keeping that balance becomes critical. But you need someone to watch it. You need some entity to really sort of watch how things are progressing year over year over year. And MVI has been there. You get that longevity. You get that serial ability to watch the markets in each of the Mon Valley communities, to sort of be to basically as a watchdog almost, to make sure that you don't overheat the market, but then you're using the market to do exactly what you need it to do. So I think in general, that's where you find strong community organizations, community development corporations in particular. I think you find healthier neighborhoods, without a question.
From your opinion, what would be the next thing that you would recommend MVI focus on?
I have said to all the folks, Laura and April and the rest of the staff, that I'm on the advisory committee for real estate, and anyone who will listen, that I think the agency has to progress to doing a Clairton Inn project at least once a year or every 2 years. It has to identify those needs. We don't have time any longer to the shortage of affordable housing is so dire that we cannot mess around with the 8-unit projects. As worthy as they may be, they eat up precious time and resources that could be spent doing the exact same thing but netting out more units. And I think that's the battle that we're in nationwide. If you spend 2.5 years doing a project for 8 units, and if I said to you, okay, well, if we'd spent the same 2.5 years building 43 units, it's a no-brainer. My advice to the agency has been, let's go bigger. Let's get bigger projects. Let's do the 40-unit projects. That should be our long-term goal. How do we continue to do the 40-unit projects? And then smattering in between, as the staff expertise expands, smattering in between the smaller projects that you would go, that is fitting in it's like a zipper, sort of the thing, the pieces fit together, and you just keep on climbing upwards and upwards and upwards. And then eventually what might happen is that, you're able to do nothing but large projects, and you might be able to do several per year. And, in 10 years' time, Mon Valley Initiative could be doing, 100 units a year potentially. And I think that's a great goal to have. Anybody can build bricks and mortar. I mean, I hate to say it that way, but it's really true. Anybody really can do that. The challenge is helping people get better at their own lives, giving them access to resources that they wouldn't have access to. Housing is the physical plant in which it's housed in. Here's your four walls. It's safe, secure, clean, etc. Right? So that's the baseline. Everybody says, well, America. I love when I hear this stuff. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and if you set your mind to it, you'll be able to accomplish things. On top of what? Water, right? Electricity, a place to live, right? Clean air, which is, for Clairton, is a big deal, right? we make these assumptions that, and if you don't have a place to live, it's over. You can't. It's almost like you can't even start in the game. And so, to me, this is like, so yes, we start the bricks and mortar, we keep the foundation, but then the real challenge is dealing with people's lives. So the social worker in me says, I make that connection of saying, I'm providing the foundation, right? And I feel good about it. I feel good about what we bring to fruition, but I know in the back of my mind that's just the beginning of the work. And that's why I feel so good about Mon Valley Initiative, because I know that they're focusing in on more than bricks and mortar. They're focusing in on the lives of the people that they serve. And, that's infectious. You feel that. You feel that sense of mission. And you want to help it. And you want to help it, when it has problems. You want to help it see a different path. But you want to help it because, if I make a difference at the Clarendon Inn Project, if I make a difference in their real estate committee, it's going to make a difference in the organization overall. And that's an amazing feeling. Well, I'd like to thank my wife, Maxine, and my children, Alana, Adina, Shoshana, and Tali, and my son-in-law, Jason, for supporting me. I think that strong family background is necessary to be able to feel confident enough to spend the time to do the volunteer work. And I think I'd also like to thank the people that I've worked with in the past. PHFA, Dennis Davin at DCED, Laura for giving me the opportunity to help. I think, and some of my old mentors, Rick Schwartz, at Bloomfield Garfield Corporation, Larry Swanson at Action Housing. Chris Shea used to be a frequent here in Pittsburgh at the Housing Authority. These guys really shaped my mind and thinking and gave me the drive and determination to really find outlets for it, whether, I'm doing it from a professional standpoint of, getting paid or volunteering. To me, it's the same thing. It's the end of the day, we're providing affordable housing and making a catalyst for change.
When we return, Charles Howell, Director of Workforce Development and Financial Coaching, will present the 2020 Regional Partnership Award. Beyond 2020 continues after this.
Mon Valley Initiative thanks this presenting sponsor of the 2020 Community Awards ceremony, DRS of Greater Pittsburgh. Locally owned and operated, Disaster Restoration Services is the largest full-service restoration contractor in the Pittsburgh area. DRS provides 24-hour emergency services in the event of damage from fire, flood, wind, and vandalism, and can respond immediately throughout southwestern Pennsylvania. DRS also handles smoke and mold remediation. For more information or a free estimate, visit drspittsburgh.com.
We are so pleased to recognize the work of Neighborhood Legal Services. For over 20 years, they've helped the folks that come through our workforce development program. When there's so many people that are trying to take advantage of workers, it really is a privilege to work with an organization that understands that taking care of others really means helping the poor, that taking care of others really means to help the formerly incarcerated walk in their freedom, that it really means lifting the weight of oppression from people's shoulders. As director of the Workforce Development Program, it's my privilege and honor to award Neighborhood Legal Services and Ed Stevenson with Mon Valley Initiative's Regional Partnership Award.
We provide free legal services in civil cases only, as compared to criminal cases, in areas where people are directly impacted by poverty, such as employment, getting records expunged, landlord-tenant cases, trying to get public assistance, trying to get unemployment compensation benefits, cases where bankruptcy may be necessary in order to refinance their income in order for them to obtain things that they need in order to live. We've been around about 66 years. We are a nonprofit corporation, and I've been in the program 49 years. 49 years, so I've been around for a good while. I grew up in a low-income, poverty background, never realizing that it was my calling to go to school, get legal skills, and now use those skills to help others. When I came out of law school, I had 2 job offers. I could have been a corporate attorney, or I could have been doing what I'm doing now. I'm following what the Lord God Almighty told me to do. He told me that He wanted me to go in the field of law and to use my legal skills to help others who need help. We have almost about 50 attorneys now with legal services. Yeah, and we're in Beaver, Butler, Lawrence County. So this is our main office, the downtown office, but we also have offices in those other 4 counties. So roughly about 50 attorneys. And we deal with cases that have an impact on trying to enhance clients' ability to become gainfully employed. And specifically, I work with getting criminal records expunged or sealed. In addition, if that doesn't work, try to bring them through a system called getting a pardon. Like in Pennsylvania, there's law for getting a record expunged and sealed, but there's no law to get a record pardoned. That's discretionary. But nevertheless, I work with clients in those areas. Plus, I do wage claim cases where employees have been terminated and have not received their income wages from an employer. We do those cases. I do also what is called unemployment compensation cases, which is a big issue in Pennsylvania. With the pandemic, a lot of clients had to apply for unemployment compensation benefits, and there's a backlog in the system, so we work with clients trying to get their cases moving.
Talk to me about this pandemic, because this has changed how the courts have operated, because I know, how has this changed what you do here?
You're absolutely right. It has changed what we do significantly. The biggest thing is that our office now, we have to make sure we're following all the guidelines that have been set down by the CDC and also from our governor with regard to how we ought to protect ourselves in light of this pandemic. And that means that we still see clients, but we try to see them as best we can. And normally our contact is by telephone, and we have special appointments when they come and see us. So we're still seeing clients, but our office hours are kind of limited to make sure that we are protecting the clients as well as the staff. We still do what we're doing. We still hold hearings, still see clients, but it's a new process now, And we're using the technology to help us to meet the legal needs of our clients. This may a sign of things to come. This is just not, it's going to come and leave. I think this is now ushering in a new way of people gaining access to the courts, and which is making it very easy now to have telephonic hearings as compared to coming downtown, trying to find a place to park, getting in the building, waiting around for a hearing. Everything is timely, and they have it under control, and it's a very situation that's working out very good for clients. We are known throughout the community that there's neighbor legal service. We've been around like 66 years, so our name is in the community. People know that if they have an issue, they can't afford an attorney, at least try legal service and see what we can do for them. In addition, we have people working in the court system. They know it's a landlord-tenant case, and people need an attorney, they will tell them to get in touch with legal services. The Allegheny County Bar Association, it recommends people to contact legal services when there are calls and people can't afford an attorney. They know to contact neighbor legal services. The state representatives, all of the federal agencies, they all know about neighbor legal service, bankruptcy courts. Everyone know about our services, and there are people who need services who can't afford private attorneys. At least come to legal services and see if we can do something for them. We do Social Security cases. We do landlord-tenant cases. We do bankruptcy cases. We do, and the biggest case for now is protection from abuse cases. Abuse is a big issue in Pennsylvania, especially during the pandemic. I mentioned that the pandemic period ushered in a lot of abuse cases. That is a big area of law that we are working with in all the counties, Beaver, Butler, Lawrence counties. We do protection from abuse cases, provide representation for clients. We do some custody cases. We do administrative law cases involving things like access to food stamps, cash assistance, medical assistance, utility allowances. Well, one of the advantages of this pandemic, if we can find an advantage, would be is now the court system has now come up with a method of which people can gain access to the court fairly easy, very accessible with regard to telephonic hearings, getting representation, judges available just about around the clock for emergency cases. So it is making the court system available to clients who in the past may have had trouble. Anyone with disabilities, can't get to the court. This new system that we're using, the telephonic hearings, provide access to court fairly quickly. So they're making it very easy for people to gain access to court and also to our services.
When did you start coming to visit Mon Valley Initiative?
I started, I would say, maybe maybe 8 or 9 years ago, when I first was assigned to do the employment law expungement. At that time, we were going to do expungement cases. The person who had the position before I was assigned to it, she said she would do outreach, and one of the areas she would go would be Mon Valley. And she asked me, would I have any problem doing that? I said, of course not. And so I started to do the outreach at Mon Valley. It's been really encouraging. I just look forward to it. Unfortunately, with the pandemic, I'm not physically there, but we are making up by doing the virtual contact with the community with regard to unemployment cases, expungement cases, and employment law cases, discrimination cases. But I say about maybe 7, 8 years ago, I've been doing the outreach to Mon Valley. So, everyone wants to know, what's the best way I can remove things in my record to enhance my chances for employment. And that seems to be a consistent request for us to look into and see what we can do. So that's the biggest issue that we look at. They come in and want to see what can we do, what other resources are available in order for me to improve my chance. Because everyone wants to work. No one wants to not work. They want to work and be a tax-paying, productive citizen in the state of Pennsylvania. And what is the best way we can accommodate them? And that's what we try to do. Look at it. And we don't turn anyone down. Anyone that comes to, in fact, when I was physically doing the outreach at Mon Valley, anyone was there, I talked to them. I don't care, if they came in late, it doesn't matter. I got a chance to talk to them and let them know that we have services and we're about the business of trying to make sure that your chance for employment will be enhanced through the expungement law. The first person I'd like to thank is the person who was the executive director at the time I was hired. His name was Judge Stanton Wettig. He was the executive director at that time. And I just thanked him for during the interview. He was able to see in me some skills that I could use to help serve the service. So he had a great deal of confidence in me. So I really thank him for giving me a chance to develop my skills and reach out and help clients. In addition, just thank all the judges who really backed up legal service. They have a high regard for legal service and what we do, and they really respect us. And that's really good because they give us encouragement to help us to do what we do. And that's how I'm able to stay as long as I've stayed, because I've got the encouragement, and I get the encouragement, all the time. And it's good to be encouragement, discouraged. I think if I was discouraged, probably be a different take on it. But being encouraged, by Judge Wettig, and also my current director, I don't want to leave him out. His name is Robert Vakunas. Okay, he is the third executive director for Neighborhood Legal Services. He has been encouraging also, and that's good. You got your executive directors behind you, encouraging you, and doing everything they can do to help you be the best you can be in order to make a difference in our community, because we have to make a difference. If you're not making a difference, you move out of the way. But you have to make a difference for people so that they get a chance to live a successful life. I want to mention one other thing too, and this is very important too. One of the highlights of my career so far has been we go out in the past and we do outreach for expungement cases. And we went out to State Correctional Institution, which no longer exists now, but State Correctional Institution had asked us to come out and do outreach about expungement. And I went out there about twice. And then they came back to me one time and asked me, would I be interested in coming out to do a commencement speech for the inmates who just finished the trade skills at State Correctional. I said to myself, you know something, you do that. You know, hey, you don't have to go to no high school or college. I've never been asked to go to a college, high school, or anywhere else to do a commencement speech. And so that was a highlight of my career. I went out there and they had the caps and gowns on, that the family come in, and they were sitting there and they would listen to me, giving them words of encouragement that you got these skills now and you worked hard. You're in a state correctional institution, you're going to be released. Now use those skills to make a difference. Take care of your family, take care of your community, and encourage others. And that has been the highlight of my legal career, is going out there just to encourage them. And the fact that they asked me, they could have asked somebody else, but they asked me to come and give that commencement speech for them. So I want to mention that. People always ask me, well, how long are you going to be with Neighborhood Legal Services? In fact, this is only a full-time job I've ever had in my life, you know, and never realizing that this was my destiny. And so I tell folks, it's not up to me to decide the question. It's up to the Lord God Almighty to tell me that I've reached my time and He has something else for me.
Support for this webcast comes from Structural Modulars Incorporated, offering award-winning custom modular homes since 1990. More than 5,000 satisfied customers have benefited from the advanced technology and superior quality of SMI Homes. SMI Homes comes with a 10-year limited warranty. That's because SMI Homes are built better. Building a better way, innovation for today's homeowners. SMIHomes.com.
Good evening. My name is April Hoover. I am the Chief Financial Officer for the Mon Valley Initiative, and tonight it is my distinct honor to congratulate and recognize our 2020 outgoing committee and board members. Serving as a committee or board member in the nonprofit sector is done on a strictly volunteer basis. We all know time is precious, and yet we see our board and committee members year after year make the commitment to share their time and expertise with us as we continue to further our mission to strengthen our Mon Valley communities by investing in its people and its places. Ending his 5-year term on the Community Investment Fund Committee this year is David Serafini. Dave is the Senior Vice President and Marketing Manager of Community Development Banking for PNC Bank. We have benefited greatly from Dave's insights and challenging questions over his years on CIF, as well as other MVI committees. He has been a great partner, and though our charter requires a 1-year break between terms, we hope to see you back on CIF again soon, and we hope that you will be just as involved with MVI in the meantime. You can't get rid of us that easily, Dave. Alyssa Kale has been a part of MVI's Regional Development Committee over the last 5 years. By day, she is the Community Garden Sustainability Coordinator for Grow Pittsburgh, and no doubt you have seen the literal fruit of her labors in and around the Mon Valley. Always involved in bettering her community, she has served both as member and president of the Braddock Economic Development Corporation. Thank you, Alyssa, for your service and your commitment to the Mon Valley. Mike Tobias joined MVI's Board of Directors in 2019, bringing a newer local voice to MVI from the Pitcairn community. As a member of Pitcairn Community Renaissance and former council president of Pitcairn, Mike brought us the grassroots view, ideas, and questions that cement MVI in its position as a voice of the communities we strive to serve. Mike is the Independence Program Specialist at the Wounded Warrior Project in Pittsburgh, so it should come as no surprise that service and support runs in his blood. Mike, thank you for a great 2 years. Lastly, Ms. Sharon Alberts is a household name in the Mon Valley. By day, she served as CEO of Transitional Services Incorporated in Homestead. By night, president and member of the Homestead Economic Development Corporation, and by day and night at the same time, MVI committee and board member. Altogether, she has dedicated 30+ years of service. To say Sharon has earned her retirement is the understatement of the year. We have been honored to serve with you and wish you all the rest and relaxation you can get your hands on. We will miss you, but know that this is not goodbye. Only see you later. Thank you again to our outgoing members, and congratulations.
Coming up in a few minutes, we'll talk to Rick Dunn, longtime MVI Senior Construction Manager, as he enjoys his retirement. We'll also be turning the spotlight over to winners of Community Partnership Awards that are being presented tonight by community development corporations and local advisory groups. So stay with us. Beyond 2020 continues in a moment.
Support for this webcast comes from First National Bank of Pennsylvania, proud to be part of this great community. FNB-online.com, member FDIC. Additional support comes from McLaughlin, Cornelius, and Filoni, architects and interior designers, revitalizing and inspiring together. MCFarchitects.com.
Welcome back to Beyond 2020, Mon Valley Initiative's Community Awards Ceremony. Each year, Community Partner Awards are presented by members of community development corporations and local advisory groups that participate in Mon Valley Initiative. These awards are presented to groups and individuals who embody the MVI vision of working together to unite the communities of the Mon Valley and restore their economic vitality. Now, let's meet this year's Community Partner Award winners. Monessen Community Development Corporation presents its 2020 Community Partner Award to the Friends of the Monessen Library.
Well, we're friends. We're helpers. We do the main I've learned since I got involved, which I didn't really understand this. I just thought, oh, I can help bake cookies if the library needs them. Which we do, but mainly
that's just one thing.
One thing, but we're a fundraising group. We are the group who raises the money to do all these little extra things. Our big fundraiser is a library luncheon this next year would have been our 30th anniversary. And that's a long time to have a group that does things for the library. And last year we donated $10,000 to the library. It's funny because as a librarian, I'm not a librarian, I'm just a worker, but when I man the circulation desk, and people call here for all kind of information. Who should I call? I need to send my IRS form. Do you have these forms? Can you help me with my resume? We have a trade school here, Douglas Education Center. We have their students come in. They use our computers. They use our printer or copier. I just think we're a one-stop shop that people don't realize how much we have to offer. And we do. A lot of our people don't drive anymore. This is a hub for this community. If you drive through Monessen, the Monessen Public Library stands out. And the funny thing is, a lot of the people who support our library don't necessarily come here. And I often ask them, why do you care? And they said, it's a passion. We want to support the library. And I think that's kind of unique in the world today, that people who might not cross that doorway still are willing to help us.
I'm Adele Dezadik, and I'm the vice president this year, and I'm a new vice president. And why we need new members? Well, we have lost at least two of our longest members this past year, who have always come down and came through with helping us volunteer, working to set up different exhibits that we have we have a boutique for Christmas every year, and so they're gone and we miss them terribly. And it's just the way the community is. The people get older, they either move away or go into whatever, pass away, and then someone has to take their place in this case, it should be someone that has some passion for reading and wants to help the community.
Many years ago, and I don't know the real history of it, the name of the library was changed by adding on an extra word. Monessen Public Library and Cultural Center. Well, what's a cultural center? I mean, we live in a still town here, and that sounds pretty classy. What's a cultural center? But Karen touched on it already because the library has provided some extraordinary events for either the students or even the adult population to expand us culturally, such as, you mentioned, we've had music groups coming in, we've had the speakers, authors that have written books and they want to, expand our knowledge of their particular book, and then of course they'd like to sell us a book or two. And we have all kinds of events.
It's free, and I said it's the best deal going. And if people want to support their library, just go in. And granted, you might give somebody a heart attack if you did this. Said, "What do you need me to do?" I'm willing to do anything, and they'll be taken up on it. I'm sure. There's no matter where they are. Well, I want to thank the person who nominated us for this award. I think it's wonderful, but I'd like to thank them. I want more people to know what the Friends do.
And I think maybe whoever did nominate us for this award probably realizes how important we are to the library. And if it wasn't for us, they may not offer as many things as they do here.
We have a small school district. They have libraries in the school. But several years ago, we did have a program going where every elementary classroom came down on school time to visit the library upstairs in our children's department, and each child went home with an application for "I want a library card," which reached out to moms and dads who maybe forgot, yeah, we have a school library, but we also have this one, and we're open all summer, and maybe school isn't. And so I think that our connection to the school district has also been a plus, and maybe the parents of some of the children that came down as first-timers, Mom or Dad or Uncle Susie or Uncle Andy or Miss Aunt Susie, maybe they would then sign up and get a library card.
How has this pandemic, because everything kind of changed and people weren't allowed to come in person for 2 months and
To the library?
Yeah. How has it changed things? I know you said the spaghetti dinner, for instance, or the luncheon.
Yeah,
you can't have that in person.
Luncheon,
Yeah.
and our spaghetti dinner, the dinner itself had to be takeout only. And a lot of the things that we were thinking about is how do you get around it? And people will say, well, I can't even sell tickets because I'm not going out.
Right.
And we've seen numbers of the library decline because people are still afraid.
Sure.
But we still have people come in because when we were closed, who was going to provide these services for them, like the printing and the computer stuff? And I had one lady, she said, what I missed most was going out for dinner, but the library was number 2. And I said, I'll take it.
Okay.
That's what I miss.
Yeah.
So it has changed things, but life is you evolve.
Yeah.
I think we'll find our way. It's going to be we're not going to be rolling in the money this year, but we're still out there trying to think of new ways.
Brandon Gatus.
Anthony Pizzuto.
I'm a secretary and treasurer for Pitcairn Taco.
Vice president.
The early Italians, what brought them to Pitcairn?
The rail yard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Work.
My family itself, a couple people that came over, and then just through communicating, hey, there's a better life or opportunity for better things.
How important then has Italian heritage been to the borough of Pitcairn and the surrounding area?
Well, for a long time, Pitcairn was predominantly a lot of people that had traveled over here and moved. So,
what has the club meant to Pitcairn and to the surrounding neighborhood?
Well, they opened up in 1920. So people that had similar interests and needed a support system, kind of. They joined the club and had benefits of the club, which a lot of it had to do with a lot of funeral expenses. Like people didn't really pay funeral expenses back then, so that was a benefit. Now it's just like a place where everyone locally comes to hang out and enjoy themselves and socialize and talk about community events. Well, it was 2017. We were on the doorstep of closing. Like I think we were left $27.38 in our bank account and a mountain of debt. So us younger generation took over and made some smart business decisions, and we've revitalized the place. And just like Anthony said, we're reinvesting all the money that we make into the place, donating to the community, just stuff like that to bring it back to life. We put a renovation into the place, all new floors, all new tables, all kind of just like small stuff that just adds up over the course of time. That was being neglected probably for financial reasons.
Sponsoring league baseball teams for years over years, the community work that we're trying to pick back up and get a little bit more involved in, has always just been a partner to the community of Pitcairn. To hey, we're a nonprofit business, but we're also a friend and happy to be in the town.
We just got a thank you letter from an animal rescue place where it was a golf outing, but we donated to their cause. So yes, we like to keep our roots here, and we will continue to do that, but we're also looking to expand that as well.
I remember being a kid here. That was one of the biggest things of bringing Santa Claus back. The last time Santa Claus was here was when I was a kid, up until 3 years ago. So bringing those traditions back, and now watching my best friends bring their kids up when we're cleaning or just having meetings and watching them run around, you kind of brings back some memories of being young. So yeah, there's several different families that have roots and ties from many years back.
About how many members?
We had 387 last year. This year it's going to dip down a little bit because of
we stopped taking memberships.
Yeah, we have a family from Florida that when they're back, they come visit.
People come up for the big events, the golf outing, people who live in different cities. If they're not making a trip, they're trying to get some memorabilia, the shirts and the mugs and things like that we've created. But yeah, people when they're in town, especially over the holidays, you see some older faces, and then a lot of the locals, like my parents and my parents' friends. Their groups of friends. When people are in town, this is kind of the place where they'll host their little get-togethers. So it's good to see them, still utilizing it and probably reliving some of them days 20, 30 years ago.
And not only that, people that were in the community that weren't coming here for a certain period of time, that are starting to bring back their like high school reunions, stuff like that. So they're starting to come back where they used to come years ago, and they're starting to enjoy the place just as much as we are, just like they did back whenever they were younger. So it doesn't just expand, countrywide, but just in the community alone, it's starting to pick back up.
I know COVID kind of screwed everything up for everybody this year and continues, but what are you looking forward to in the future? I mean, you mentioned Santa Claus, for instance, at Christmas time, but what are kind of your plans for the future now that you're back stable?
First, just and foremost, just open the doors. Give people a place to get out of their house and, whatever they come here to do, watch a sports game, hang out, have a drink, play pool, whatever it might be, just letting them have the luxuries of getting back to that normalcy for one. Moving forward, picking up, like you said, where we left off, continuing to grow. Obviously, big holidays coming up is our Thanksgiving drive and the Christmas. So We canceled our 100th anniversary party. We might host it year 101, but tomorrow we're lucky enough we're going to go down to one of Pitcairn's famous parks, Sugar Camp there, and celebrate. We usually throw an end of the summer picnic, so we've had the luxuries of just doing that and having a little get together tomorrow. So weather permitting, it should be a good day, but just getting back into the daily routine of letting this organization grow, putting a good name out there to the community, and again allowing people to have fun.
I'd like to thank my wife because she deals with me spending all the time here. A lot of hours get put into it. A lot of people don't see how much time we actually put into it, but we put a lot into it. So yeah, I'd like to thank her especially because missing time with my kids to do this, but I usually bring them with me so they kind of get a sense of the whole thing. So
yeah, I mean it's a lot of work. All of us, we do have jobs, and I think they all recognize that. So, thank everybody for continuing to come and everything that we're trying to do for the club, the community. Everybody helps out, whether it's donating a dish of pasta salad or buying a shirt, coming and hanging out. Just everybody that's involved with the club deserves a big thank you.
And we look forward to contributing more to the community as well. That's like the main goal while we're here. We did 2 scholarships to high school children, which I'm happy to say it makes me feel good about that, and we want to continue to do that kind of stuff. So
both from Gateway?
Both from Gateway,
yeah. Cool.
We got a bunch of applications, we read through them all, and we picked the people that we thought held our values the most, is community, community service, that kind of stuff. So I'm happy to say that we did.
Beyond 2020 returns in a moment.
Support for this webcast comes from Ensco Long Insurance Group, offering employee benefits, property and casualty, and risk management services. Visit enscolong.com. Additional support comes from Highmark, an independent licensee of the Blue Cross Blue Shield Association. You lead, you deliver, you improve. Highmark.com.
East Pittsburgh Economic Development Corporation presents its 2020 Community Partner Award to the East Pittsburgh Basketball Clinic.
My name is Thomas Moore. I'm a resident of North Braddock. I've been living in North Braddock for about 18 years.
Okay.
And we got the basketball clinic started really because of what happened with Antoine Rose. During that time, that Tuesday evening, we were having church services where we were mentoring some of our young men, and we actually were only about a block away from where it happened. And so when service was over about 8:30, we came out and we seen the police cars, and we all know what happened after that, and that's where it was put in our mind and to actually want to do something in the community, and that's why we started the basketball clinic. I wouldn't necessarily say people are healing.
Mm-hmm.
I would say people have dealt with it.
Mm-hmm.
There still needs to be a lot of healing. There needs to be a lot of what's the word that we're trying to use? A lot of acknowledgement. There still hasn't been an apology, I don't feel. Just speaking from personal experience and also from the community, there hasn't been that reconciliation. And we still don't feel that there's been justice done because he's still out on the streets.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things that I think that the community, really hasn't gotten over it. It's still dealing with today. But we want it to be more than just basketball. Because we know that kids in basketball, we're going to draw kids with, fun activities. But we wanted to have something that was more than just basketball. We wanted to have speakers to come in. We wanted to do a mentorship program. We wanted to have different activities. We wanted to have definitely parental involvement. The age groups that we were looking with was 6 to 17-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
And we had an excellent turnout, not just with the children, but also an excellent turnout with the parents.
Has there been any spin-off activity? Like, have people taken the stuff that the people that they're meeting on the basketball court? Have they worked on any other projects together? Do you know of?
Yes, we actually have worked on other projects. It's been a spin-off for cleaning the neighborhood up, where we take the kids out, and we did actually 2 or 3 cleanup days that we actually took the children out as well as with the parents, and we did cleanup days so that the children and the parents can take pride in their neighborhood.
One of the things that stuck with us was that it is more than just basketball, and as Coach Thomas expressed, all about providing mentorship as well to the youth. And so after the incident that had taken place, the unfortunate incident with Anthony Rose, one of the things that stuck out to all 3 of us was to provide an outlet for you, something that would hopefully build a sense of resiliency to any type of criminal activity. But we know in order to do that, we have to provide an alternative that's a healthy alternative. And so one of the beautiful things about that is, when going into developing a basketball clinic, we also want to make sure that we included mentorship, we included opportunities for resources, whether it be both in and outside of East Pittsburgh, to come in and to do presentations, to talk to you. We actually were able to have the prevention team from Phoenix come in to do a presentation. I'm talking about respect. So those moments like that, and even at the end actually of every practice, Coach Tom, Coach Ernest, and you also have volunteers who help out as well, will come and connect with the kids and talk to them, not just about the drills that they had gone over during practice, but also talk to them about sense of morality, on life. And I know one of the moments I was able to catch, since usually during practice is on flying around taking pictures, but we actually haven't posted this on our Facebook page, and that was a moment in which Coach Tom, Coach Ernest got the kids to chant, don't pick up guns, pick up balls.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Don't pick up guns, pick up balls.
So things like that, being able to reinforce, good decision making, the sense of positivity, also being proud of yourself. Those are things that we try to do. Again, it's all about providing an alternative to any type of criminal activity to hopefully get the kids to feel motivated, and also know there are people in the community who care about you.
The council has supported this idea, but I want to make sure that I give all my props to Deacon Thomas and Sister Tamara, because they were the one that came up with the idea and started this program. And one of the things that I always tell people when I talk about us is, they worship in our community, but they don't live in our community. But they're here to help our kids, so we always want to thank them. The other thing I want to add is one of the things that we try to teach our young people is leadership. To grow up, to be good citizens, make good decisions. We want them to grow as they learn and learn as they grow. And one of the things that I noticed, and I noticed personally, if you see a little kid on the basketball court and he's driving down from one end of the court to the other, you see the parents standing over there, and they're all excited. And when the kid make that basket, the parent is proud of their kid. Okay, so we want them to learn shoot the basketball hoop and not shoot a gun. So that's one of the important things that we want to teach them, to just grow up, because they're the one that's going to come behind us, and we try to be good role models and be good mentors for them.
Thank you. Cannot express enough gratitude towards the families and the team members, because you all definitely are who made this truly a success. It's one thing for us to have a shared vision of what we can do with the basketball clinic, but it's another thing for that vision to come to life. All came to life definitely because of you. So thank you so much to team members, to your families, to Man Up For My High Ministries as well. Thank you so much, Mr. Bishop Arthur Brown, for giving us the go-ahead with taking initiative with the basketball clinic. And also, cannot forget this, I would definitely say a special thank you to Pastor Dan of Mon Valley City Church, because they opened up the doors to us, enabling us to be able to continue the clinic now as well. So thank you so much for all the support that we have, for people connecting us to people as well, such as Mr. Nate Carter from the Connect Center, connecting us to Great City Church. So thank you so much.
Walmart for the gift cards. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. We love you all. Thank you.
Mon Valley Initiative's longest-serving employee retired this year after a career in residential and commercial construction that has touched virtually every community in our service area. We caught up with Rick Dunn, Senior Construction Manager, at his home in West Newton to find out how he's enjoying retirement. You were born in South Philadelphia?
Southwest Philadelphia.
Okay, and you've been in construction all your life?
Oh, yes.
What do you like about construction work?
It's rewarding. You have something that it's tangible. You can physically see it. Okay? It's not an idea, it's there. That's what I like about it.
Where did you learn to trade?
Well, it's probably from my uncle when I was a kid. My first stores when I was like 12 years old. And got hooked. So I've gone along. It's just not construction. I went to school for plumbing, went to school for electric, and went to school for finish carpentry back when.
You came here for family reasons to Western Pennsylvania.
Yes.
And you started working for Mon Valley Initiative then?
Well, it's 26 years, so I think it was 93.
93. What was the first project you worked on?
Oh, Shamrock Square, East Pittsburgh. That was that was an interesting project from the very get-go.
How so?
It really was. There was a lot of turmoil with the work that had been done at the very project from the very beginning. I literally had to come in and terminate all the subcontractors from the project, and we had to start from scratch. And at that point, the CDC was no longer a general contractor, or acting as a general contractor.
Do you have any idea how many jobs you would have worked on at MVI over the years?
Hundreds of jobs. No, I don't have the number, but there would have been hundreds of them.
How have things changed since you started in the business?
Materials have certainly changed. Things have been a lot easier. We have air guns now instead of swinging a hammer. Okay. Almost hand saws are almost obsolete at this particular time. Work has gotten, the physical work has gotten easier. The mental work has become a little more complicated.
Regulations, or how so?
Well, a lot of it with regulation, of course. But, it's a matter of the new styles and techniques and such have complicated things a little bit. You know, a wall today is a wall what it was, 40 years ago. Okay, the way that wall's constructed is different today.
How come you stuck with Mon Valley Initiative all this time?
It actually made me feel good. If you know what I mean. It was rewarding. Don't get me wrong. The position as construction manager was amazingly stressful, and but at the same time, it was also very rewarding to see a finished product. Okay. To drive past your finished product. And that made it all worthwhile. Again, it was just it's tangible.
Of the projects that you worked on, do you have a favorite, or do you have a couple favorites?
Well, I've always loved the rehab for resale single-family homes. I can't say one particular favorite out of them all. I like them all at the very end. Let's put it that way. And when they're done. Getting to that point is has been difficult sometimes. That was supposed to be my work shed.
The pad.
All right. But only wound up being a dance floor for my son's wedding here.
And you're doing some farming, I understand.
Well,
little gentleman farming?
Helping out a friend.
Okay.
Yes. A friend of ours broke a hip, and all of a sudden I had to learn farming. Humping bales of hay, feeding the chickens, the pigs, the horses, and such. It's been a learning experience. Being a city boy, okay, some of these animals I've never even gotten close to until recently. I just want to be able to tell everyone with MVI that I sincerely miss them. And I continually wake up in the morning thinking that I have to get ready for work. Or when I'm driving, I accidentally make that turn heading towards Homestead. It's embedded in me, and it's gotten a lot of laughs from people. Some of the things they can jump out of bed. Oh, I gotta get to work. I'm running late. But no, I enjoy and I enjoyed and miss everybody.
We'll return to Beyond 2020 and to the Community Partner Awards in just a moment.
Support for this webcast comes from Keller Electric, experienced, reliable electric work throughout the greater Pittsburgh area in homes and businesses, pjkeller.com. Additional support comes from the architects at LGA Partners. You envision a future, they make it a home, lga-partners.com.
Now back to the presentation of the 2020 Community Partner Awards. Swissvale Economic Development Corporation presents its 2020 Community Partner Award to Leland Scales, founder of the Swissvale Community Garden and Swissvale Community Action Committee.
My name is Leland Scales. I live in Swissvale, fourth, fifth, one of those. Generation Swissvale resident. My family's been here for a long time, so I have a lot of a huge stake in the community. I started several different organizations. First, I believe I started the Swissvale Community Action Committee, and basically that's just like a community organization where we just kind of, we see stuff that is wrong, or we see things that, might need some tidying up, or some things that need action. And we kind of group together and put our resources together to get it done. Kind of out of a first step when I first started in, I believe in like 2013 or 14, I kind of wanted to put my money where my mouth was. So I said, well, it's an action-based group. I need to do some action. So I did a little research on community gardens and how they kind of impact impoverished neighborhoods or neighborhoods that are experiencing some blight. So I did that, and then I did some surveys to see what people thought about it, and specific locations where it might work. So after I did that, I decided to just go ahead and make it happen. So I created a community garden, I believe in 2014, 2015, something like that, in my neighborhood near where the local playground's at. I was also in grad school at the time, so I was doing a lot of research on horticulture and urban agriculture and urban gardens and things like that. And part of that research was looking at other neighborhoods similar to our neighborhood, not only in Pennsylvania, but in Michigan and in New York and in different neighborhoods like Harlem and in neighborhoods in Philadelphia, where they used to be really great, huge towns with a lot of industry, but kind of fell off as time went on and got blighted, and then looked at community efforts and people creating community gardens to kind of spawn community development. So that was really my focus, is building something or creating something that would spawn other things that would get people involved in the community, that would get the local government to start seeing, okay, well, they're putting work in the community. We can, trust that they're going to take care of it. We can put some investment into the community, and then looking at outside investors coming in, buying some of the blighted property and recreating a space that's more livable and more attractable to other people. That journey began about 5 years ago, and I mean, if you come down here now, you'll get to see a lot of that plan coming to fruition. Like the playground was completely renovated. Like prior to that, the playground was just completely blighted and everything was broken up. There was a lot of vacant buildings and vacant properties down there. People were starting to buy those up a little bit. They're starting to put some more money and investment into that community down there. Like some of the residents, more of the older residents who've been here for decades and have raised kids here and they were raised here, they kind of get stuck in the past. So they think in terms of what it used to be and how things were when they were growing up. And I kind of, I remember what they were when I was growing up here, and I kind of want a space where my kids and my nephews can kind of, be in that safe space where, everybody kind of knows everybody and it's comfortable with me letting my daughter go play down the playground because I know somebody in the community is watching them. But then at the same time, I also understand that there is a need for, progression and something new. And, that's one of the things we've never had in Swissvale. We never had a community space, like a community garden where people could come, take part in it. It'll give people not only in Swissvale and not only this side of Swissvale, but even the other neighborhood, reason to come over to this part and kind of take part in it and make it a little more visual. And the more visual it becomes, the more people are willing to protect it and make it a community space. And make sure that it's beautiful and it stays beautiful. So I think the biggest support that I get is from people who actually are new to the neighborhood. Like there are some people who are lifers who have been a part of this mission and have been helping a lot. But a lot of them were like people who just moved here maybe 5 to 7 years ago. Maybe people moved here a couple years ago and they kind of see the vision and they want to be a part of something positive and moving forward. So that's been a great deal. I mean, like I said, with the Swissvale Community Action Committee, we have a website, we have a Facebook and social media presence. So a lot of our messages and things like that, they kind of get out via those mediums, as well as the Swissvale Community Garden. They're kind of intertwined and connected, and we want to do some expansion. We would like to have some other green spaces, because as you know, or maybe you don't know, but in Swissvale, there are a lot of empty lots all around town. So we would like to, create some more green spaces where people on different sides, because Swissvale is like, it's one community, but it's like 6 different communities because it's so separate. Yeah. And you have the hilly part, you got the lower part, you got this part. Having those green spaces on these different sides where, everybody who live on top of the hill don't have to come all the way down here to, experience the greatness of the community garden and that community connectivity. And then also we've already been doing a great deal of like seminars and classes during the fall and winter seasons when we can't grow, like canning classes, cooking classes to kind of show people how to, cook the stuff that we grow. Like I said, canning, so show them how to preserve whatever extra stuff you have at the end of the season, and closer to the spring, we'll start to get into some seed planting classes and things like that, and we'll do that. There's a wealth of organizations and just individuals, people that have helped so much. Grow Pittsburgh, Union Baptist Church, the Mennonite Church, Reach Up Pittsburgh. Just throughout this process, I mean, the whole community of Swissvale have been behind me and just helping everything. I mean, when we first were putting it, just had the idea, and we were going around knocking on people's doors, asking them about it. Like a lot of people who, like I said, the lifers who lived here for a long time, they were like, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't put it here. The kids are going to destroy it. They're going to destroy this. It's not a good thing. It's not a good location. And it couldn't have been the furthest from reality. Like, the kids embraced it. They saw it as something great. They wanted to learn. They came over, helped me out, pulled some weeds, picked some stuff. I mean, it's been the furthest from reality for me. So it's really been a great experience. If people want to volunteer, whether that's, pulling weeds, watering stuff, or, helping to raise money, or, just coming down and sitting in the garden and making it look like a community space, we welcome it. The pandemic hasn't stopped everybody, Some people are still out here. They want to get their hands dirty and they want to grow stuff. And, gardening out here is a good stress reliever. So what other place would you like to be when you're going through this pandemic crisis?
Downtown West Newton Incorporated presents its 2020 Community Partner Award to Jeff Bloom, founder of Bloom Brew.
My name is Jeff Bloom. It's B-L-O-O-M, and I am the owner of Bloom Brew Brewery in West Newton, PA. We were originally licensed in 2013. It took us almost a year for the renovations that we did in the building. We officially opened our doors to the general public in September of 2014. So, what isn't there to enjoy about having your own brewery? But definitely the ability to be creative, just make all the different beers, to watch the people drink your beer, to see the smiles on their face appear. It's, there's no really greater reward than that, than people telling you that you're doing a good job. And this is what we're meant to do. So originally we were on the hunt for some property that was with what I consider the original Mon Valley footprint, which was Charleroi, Monessen, Monongahela, so anywhere in that vicinity. We approached a couple of other communities, and this was prior to, the big boom that's just happened recently. Hardly anybody was aware of really what a brewery consisted of, or what they thought it might be. There was just this, some of the communities that we went into, they thought that, me bringing a brewery into town would almost be like bringing in a 24-hour frat party. They didn't realize what craft brewing was about. We actually went in and we talked to council and proposed that we wanted to bring a brewery into town, and they were really welcoming. I only lived 3 miles from there, and almost my entire career, what I currently do, I've driven great distances every day. So I didn't want to drive 100 miles a day round trip. The Mon Valley was, really lacking on any options, and that's where I wanted to bring the brewery. And West Newton in particular, I saw the advantage of having the bike trail there, which I was a regular user of, and also the river, the river traffic and the bike trail traffic, the outdoor rec. So it was sort of a no-brainer, and we started to look for property in town. And long story short, we ended up in the back of the West Newton Volunteer Fire Department. So just slow and surely, a lot of the people that didn't know what craft beer was or what the brewing community was about, after they've just spent some time at our place, we were able to get them hooked and just, repeatedly, have them back. So we have a pretty good following of just people from West Newton, and if it isn't West Newton in particular, it's from the whole Mon Valley footprint. So we get a lot of people that come down. Sometimes it's once a week. We have customers that come every single day that we're open. So that's pretty cool. Earlier, I knew the trail was going to be an asset for us as far as being able to bring people in. I didn't know how big of an asset, and it's amazing some of the people that we bring in. A lot of people from all over the world, actually. They'll plan a week's vacation from doing the either Pittsburgh to DC or DC to Pittsburgh, either or, and they sort of base their trip around all the amenities that all the communities that the trail towns have to offer. What I really didn't expect, and as much as what we've had with the trail traffic, is the amount of river traffic that we get.
Canoes and
kayaks, man. When you look upstream, when the weather breaks and people finally start to get out around May, mid-May, you'll look upstream because we're right down from the bridge. And if you've ever seen the scene from the hot air balloons that they do for the parade, or hot air balloon thing that they do in New Mexico, where you see all these different color balloons and stuff, you'll look upstream and you'll see 100 different canoes, kayaks, whatever type of flotation device, all these different colors, and they're just all floating down the river. And we happen to be a great stop for them, so that's pretty neat. we've been donating to the local trail association every year since we've been open, which is just the West Newton chapter. And what that does is that helps pay for, there's actually an all-volunteer crew, but for trail maintenance all the way from like West Newton up through Cedar Creek Park, basically covers that territory. So when I heard about DW&I, they were, a little bit more focused on that side, where they were just looking to increase, small businesses coming into town, anything they could do to help the community. They host a bunch of different events every year. That ended up leading to us we were doing Oktoberfest shows for them. So once a year, right around September, October, we were hosting an event, donating all the beer and everything for the event. They just kept all the proceeds. Last year was the biggest one for us. We hosted our first Forge on the Yacht event. We were able to raise a substantial sum of money. We partnered with a bunch of local area breweries, wineries, distilleries, and meaderies, but we ended up selling close to 350 tickets for that event. That was our first year. We had a bluegrass band, we had 3 food trucks, and it went off without a hitch. It was a wonderful event. And unfortunately, COVID put a damper on this year's, but perhaps next year we'll be able to move forward with that event again. I started out small. We don't have any outside loans. There's nobody else that has any controlling interests. I take all the money that we earn and I reinvest it right back into the business. To this day, I haven't taken any money. We actually employ 10 people. Those 10 people I was able to keep on the payroll through the whole COVID. I am looking at expanding, and I also want to stay in the town of West Newton. So we've been actively looking for another space, another commercial building that'll work for us. The second major investment I want to make is in a space for our production facility. And the third one, when I finally hit that, and I'll know when that time is right, is we'll put in a full service bar, possibly partner with somebody else with a kitchen. I don't want to necessarily say I'm going to run my own kitchen, but it would definitely be nice to partner with somebody that would. So when we hit that point, I will have achieved everything that I wanted to. So
awesome.
We'll leave it at that.
Support for this webcast comes from McGee, Maruka and Associates, certified public accountants. Visit McGeeMaruka.com. Additional support comes from Standard Bank, a community bank that takes great pride in serving you. StandardBankPA.com, member FDIC.
Turtle Creek Development Corporation presents its 2020 Community Partner Award to Paul Gamrat, Mayor of Churchill Borough.
This is Paul Gamrat.
And you are Mayor of Churchill Borough.
I am.
How long have you lived in Churchill?
I have lived in Churchill for 38 years.
Where did you grow up at?
North Braddock.
How did you start to get involved with the Turtle Creek folks?
Actually, through my friend Dale Beezup, who kind of introduced me to the initiative and has invited me to things throughout the years to get involved. I've been to several meetings. I signed up for the newsletter, so I get the newsletter.
What sort of things have you done with Dale and with TCDC?
It's more like the community garden stuff is what we've mostly worked on with him.
What is the community garden?
It's located on the corner of Beulah Road and Churchill Road. It's about an acre of land that we've kind of taken over, and right now we're under construction for a new planting in there.
You mentioned that a lot of people, they drive past and they think that these projects are being done by the borough or somebody owns it, when in fact it's volunteers.
It's all volunteers, yeah.
Okay. Why is it important for volunteers to be doing these things?
Well, it gives you a sense of pride in the community. You're out there doing it. When you ride by, you say, I was part of that. I did that. You tell your other friends that you had a hand in developing that project. So it makes you feel good.
How important is civic involvement in towns like Churchill or Turtle Creek?
Oh, it's very important. It's one way that we get to know each other's neighbors. To be close, so we can identify each other by name, and we see each other, say hello, and work on the projects together.
What are some misunderstandings or some misconceptions maybe that people have? For instance, that these things are maintained by the borough or that there's somebody who's paid to do this when in fact there's volunteers out there doing it?
That's a good question. I think that they are under the impression that their taxes are sufficient to pay for the services that we get in the borough, not including little projects like that are done. Even with the litter pickup that we do, they think that's the borough's job or it's PennDOT's job. When they do, in fact, do some of that, but it's just not enough.
If somebody wants to get involved in things, what are some ways for people to get involved?
Well, we regularly, the borough puts out a newsletter. It's printed twice a year, and in my mayor's address to them, I always offer, come and join us and sign up for us. I try to use the Nextdoor app. I spread the word to our garden, our Churchill Garden Club, wherever I can when I see people. One of the things I do as mayor, when new residents move in, I personally go to each home with a welcome packet and knock on the door, introduce myself, hand them a welcome packet, and I'll invite them to come to a council meeting. I invite them to join some of the activities that we do, and that's how we picked up some volunteers along the way.
You were a school teacher by career, and you're retired now. What made you want to get involved in volunteering in the community?
Well, as a school teacher, I was not only a teacher, but I was also involved in our association, the local association, the state, and the federal. So in that, I worked in those areas, working with the different aspects of that. So when I retired, I kind of just kept it up. I was asked to take over or get involved with the local politics, and which I did. And from there, it just grew. And then I became, they asked me when the last mayor retired, would you be interested in taking that over? And so here I am.
How has volunteering or even doing the work here in the borough changed with this COVID-19 pandemic?
Well, at first, back when it first came on, everyone was afraid to do anything. We weren't picking up litter. We weren't working in the gardens. No one was coming out of their house. Everyone was kind of taking shelter. And then little by little, we started coming out, and we're back to our full crews of picking up the litter and working in the gardens. So we're still cautious, by keeping our social distance.
What would you like to say to the folks at TCDC, Dale Bezub, and the rest of the folks who nominated you for the award?
Well, number one, I think all the things that they're involved in are definitely a positive for the area. Whether it's the community gardens, any projects they work on, including some of the major projects through PennDOT, bringing in new travel routes that come through the area that would make it easier for residents to travel, say for example to the airport. Those are important things for us. Bringing in, it actually attracts new residents to the area. Kind of gives an older area, if you will, a boost. Because people think it's old, it's no good anymore.
Do you want to say thank you to anyone in particular?
Well, first of all, my biggest fan would be my wife. If it wasn't for her, she's my biggest supporter. She supports me 100% everything I do, although there are times when she says, you're just too busy, you can't be everywhere at one time. But I try, and she's always, behind me and helps me out a lot. I have to say, all the residents of Churchill, I've been well accepted by everyone that I've met so far and I come in contact with. It's great working with the people. I've always been a people person, and that's one of the things I like about going door to door, and greeting the new residents, is I just get a chance to talk to them. Anyone that's out there listening to this hears it. If you want to get involved with something in your community, even if it's an hour a month, it's worth it. Just come out, and you'll find out that once you get involved, you'll want to do more. It just kind of gets infectious.
Braddock Economic Development Corporation presents its 2020 Community Partner Award to Greater Valley Community Services.
Greater Valley Community Services is a social service nonprofit agency, and we provide foster care services. We provide in-home crisis services for Allegheny County children, youth, and families. In addition to that, we have programming for the community, such as camps for youth. We have a Camp WOW that we partner with University of Pittsburgh, Western Pennsylvania Writing Project, where they write in the summer and they garden as well. We also have a tech program called Surge, where youth come and learn about technology and different aspects of technology and marketing, and they work with local businesses. One of the businesses that they worked with this summer was Terry's Berries, as well as Involvement. In addition to that, we partner with other programs, Saving Our Sons and Daughters, Infinite Solutions, and they have a trauma camp. So those that may have been affected by some type of trauma, they also have a summer camp here to work with them. We have a program here called Hoops, helping out other people, with Kathy Welsh and others that work really hard with those who've been affected by violence and other issues that they may have had. It's a support group. It's a great group that meets a few times a month. We have Golden Living senior group that meet here as well. And other community programs. We have a community advisory committee that we try to work off of or feed off of to develop different programs. So Greater Valley has actually been around as a provider for CYF since 2009. But we moved into this facility really to be more community focused about 3 years ago. Really, all our stable programs again are all throughout Allegheny County, even parts of Westmoreland. We even service parts of Westmoreland. For the programs here, we really want to focus on the Mon Valley.
How important has Greater Valley's presence here in this facility been to the Braddock community?
We like to think it's important. One of the things that we really realized through this pandemic, through COVID-19, was how important we are with the food insecurity. We had a staff member that really stepped it up and reached out. We developed a food pantry, one of the things that you mentioned earlier. We developed a food pantry, and we may have serviced about 25 to 30 people a month. But just last month, we distributed 689 boxes of food, produce, meat, dairy to the community. So we realized how valuable we are in the community when it came to things like food insecurity as well as programming.
What are some of the things that folks in Braddock are struggling with?
Food insecurity is a big portion of it, but I also believe workforce development can be a part of it. And so we're working to make changes there to really try to develop programs that meet the needs of the people where they are, whether it's youth or adults. There are some other projects that we're working on with the community. We're part of the C3, Braddock is part of the C3 community, and I'm part of that committee to really work on developing even businesses in Braddock.
How do people find out about Greater Valley First?
So we feel like we're kind of a secret at times. So we're starting to do better with our social media. I'm not a big social media user, so we have staff that post things on Facebook, and I believe we have an Instagram, but we really try to use it now to let people know, also our website.
You mentioned food insecurity, and I wonder if for people watching, you can define that a little bit, because I think if you have never been in that situation, people think, what's this food insecurity? How could you be food insecure in the United States?
That's a very great question and a valid point. In Braddock in particular, the average income is $24,000. And so when you think about whether I have to buy food in my home, buy any medicine that may be needed, provide clothes for my children, that's not a lot of resources for a family. And so sometimes people battle with, do I purchase this item of food, or do I eat? Do my children just eat? How can we get through just this week? And so even with jobs, even with two incomes at times, people have to make tough choices, and oftentimes food is one of those. And even with school lunches, if you can't get there, like through the pandemic, if you can't get to that facility to get the food, to get the resources, it makes it difficult. And so one of the things that we've done is we've even delivered to many of our people. The thing that we really wanted to focus on is connecting people to resources and collaborating. And so we consider ourselves a partner in many cases. And so what we developed is what we call SPACE, Greater Valley SPACE. And so that means supportive programs supporting collaborative engagement. And so we like to work with other people and make sure people are connected to the resources that they need. One of the things that we really try to focus on is not duplicating services, but either enhancing services or developing other services to meet a need.
Walk me through the process a little bit of how you connect with them, how you help them.
So we have a great staff. I mean, I can't say enough about my staff. I mean, they pitch in wherever is needed, but for the poor that really go out and work with families, and even through COVID, we never stopped. We're considered a necessary service. A family comes in and there's a crisis that they may have. We work with them to connect them to whatever resource that they need, even if we are that resource, whatever resources that they need to get through that crisis and to be sustainable, self-sustainable. I try to be as humble as possible, because I feel like we're just servants, honestly. I feel like we're here to meet the needs of the people, and that's what we do. It's a passion of mine, and I feel like it's the staff. It has become the passion of the staff to really bunker down and do whatever we can for our community. We had a program with young interns where we're trying to develop interns. We had it for the past 3 years. This summer was a little more difficult to do it, so we took a break. But we have a program where we work with young people to make them more civic-minded and more engaged in their community. To go back to the days where community was like a family and a staple, it creates a more stable environment where we can all work together. And I feel like that's one of the things that we're trying to accomplish at Greater Valley is creating a family, a community as a family, and get back to basics where it takes a village. And so we want to be a contributor to that village.
Is there anybody you want to thank?
Oh my gosh, my awesome staff and the support of the community. I can't say enough about Tina Ducey, who's been a great supporter of Greater Valley. She has had children who've used the programs here as far as our camps. And other community members, Lee Davis. We've just had some great support, Kathy Welsh, in our community. And beyond. We work with people like Great Candor. It's just been a pleasure to work with the people in the community that have the same passion and drive that we have for our community.
And those were the Community Partner Awards, presented by community development corporations and local advisory groups that participate in Mon Valley Initiative. Joe Flynn Jr., Vice Chair of the MVI Board, will offer some closing thoughts in just a moment, when Beyond 2020 continues.
Support for this webcast comes from Washington Financial Bank. Strength, stability, commitment, and independence. WashFIN.com, member FDIC. Additional support comes from Jay Costa for State Senate. jcosta.org.
What a night. Thank you for coming to our first and hopefully last virtual dinner. But a dinner it was, and we had the chance to hear from good people about good things. Let me start by thanking Jason Tozier and Grant Cole for organizing this. For a lot, we were wondering if we could pull it off, but we've done it, and they've been the lead for it. One of the things that I can't help but think about tonight as I listen to the various speakers ahead of me, we've done an awful lot of good things in what can only be described as a year of chaos. And I think we'll all be happy when we clear out of 2020 and find ourselves in 2021. Macy and Ed, you guys do outstanding work. You've been most supportive of the work of MVI and by extension, the people of the Valley. We couldn't do what we do without people like you. I'd like to thank our CDC partners and the advisory groups that work with us, especially for the people that they've introduced us to tonight. The work that goes on in the Valley is something that we're all proud of, and it's a night like this that we're reminded of all of that is done. To Laura and the staff of MVI, how you've managed to pull off what you've done in these last 7 or 8 months is simply a miracle. People are still getting the services they need. Our doors are still open. We're meeting with the people, and we're providing service. There couldn't be a better group working through the Valley or caring about the people of the Valley. We'll all be glad when 2020 is over and we can all look forward to 2021 and beyond. The groundbreaking last week for the Clarendon Inn project is just a sample of what lies ahead in the Mon Valley, and the Mon Valley Initiative will be there to deliver it. God willing, we'll see each other in person next year. Mark off that third Thursday in October. It seems to be our day. And I just want to again thank you all for coming. And in the meantime, be well, be safe, and please get out and vote. Thank you and good night.
You've been watching Beyond 2020, this year's virtual version of the Mon Valley Initiative Community Awards ceremony. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And for more information, visit our website at www.monvalleyiinitiative.com. And from all of us here at Mon Valley Initiative, thank you for your continued support.